had a dream. We were sipping whiskey neat, highest floor of the Bowery, and I was high enough. Somewhere along the lines, we stopped seeing eye to eye. You were staying out all night, and I had enough. No, I don't know where you've been or where you're going, but I know I won't be home, and you'll be on your own. Who's gonna walk you through the dark side of the morning? Who's gonna rock you when the sun won't let you sleep? Who's waking up to drive you home when you're drunk and alone? Who's gonna walk you through the dark side of the morning? I had a dream, we were back to 17. Summer nights and the libertines, never growing up. I'll take with me the Polaroids and the memories, but you know I'm gonna leave behind the worst of us. Who's gonna walk you through the dark side of the morning? Who's gonna rock you when the sun won't let you sleep? Who's waking up to drive you home when you're drunk and alone? Who's gonna walk you through the dark side of the morning?
Loot.bet, made for live betting.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Second series about to get underway. This one's going to be a real interesting one already to kickstart it off. It's Winstrike versus Heretics, but we're going to be playing the brand new iteration of Vertigo. Those updates released, the enhancements, maybe some disadvantages made onto the map, but definitely a new era of Vertigo. And yeah, Winstrike Heretics going to be an interesting series, the 0-1 bracket this time. And of course, joined by Screw for the rest of the day, of course, as we get into our second series.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited for this one. Obviously, we've got that new Vertigo with kind of the changes, but also these are two teams. I mean, I've never casted Heretics before, but Winstrike I've not casted for a while. Obviously, they've moved some players around. Always exciting to see where Bondic ends up. Kind of a little bit of untapped potential, I think. Back in 2015, 2016, there was a lot of hype around him. Unfortunately, didn't quite make it to the upper echelons of the CIS scene, I suppose. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, we kind of have this, the remainder of 3D Max kind of thing moving into a bit of a different team with a couple new players as well, which again was a team that had quite a bit of hype around it, but a lot more recently. So I'm excited to see where this one goes, but I do have a bit of a feeling with kind of the opening map at the very least that we have a bit of a messy one on our hands, perhaps. But all the same, it should be some pretty exciting Counter-Strike.
Yeah, definitely. I think this might be one of the first Vertigo games that we've seen on HLTV since the new changes. So we'll definitely have to look out for those. yeah, Heretics, they were looking like a really decent side. Had that Pro League spot as the French Frogs team, or I think qualified under 3D Max, but obviously then lost their org, unfortunately. But yeah, in the most recent times, had a couple of roster changes here and there. Have now brought in Jane, who honestly has looked like a really decent fragger. He had a solid game on the closed qualifiers against Copenhagen Flames, but against Youngsters as well. So yeah, he's looked like a really good player. They've fitted together pretty well. Maka's still popping off with his AWP, but yeah, Winstrike, it's been a rough couple of months for them, integrating both Bondic and, well, 3 players realistically, Bondic, Elian, and Edward, all fairly new in the team. Played in the CIS Esports Pro Championship. Recently had some, again, up and down results showing that even in their home turf, even in their home scene, they're not particularly able to battle as gratefully as they would like to. They lost I think in the Swiss stage, they lost like 2 matches, I'm fairly certain. Made it maybe to the playoffs, but I think they were eliminated even before that. So, yeah, to consider that these guys were the hot prospects just 2 majors ago, they seem to have taken a very big dip. Even Norbert's quiet in some games, and he's the star fragger of this team now. So, yeah, it's going to be a real interesting one, and especially on Vertigo, it could go either way, realistically.
Yeah, definitely. I think we're in the same sort of thoughts as each other in terms of what's happened with Winstrike. It's a bit of a shame, but hopefully, you know, at least in the realms of the online CS, this is a team I think they have potential to beat. I suppose there is that experience of Edward, that experience of Bondic coming in that could bring a different dynamic to the team. But, you know, Edward, obviously, we know kind of where things have been going for him recently. Not had the highlights of his career, let's just say that. And Bondic, again, kind of unsure. I think he definitely still has that fragging power, but just mentally not quite as stable as maybe he would like, just in terms of, you know, the teams and things that he's a part of. So it could be tough. There is a chance as well. You know, we have Vertigo and then into Nuke, which is just 2 opposite ends of the spectrum, honestly, in terms of the play styles. So we'll have to see here. I think this one might just, again, end up going to a bit of a 2-0, but it could also be a very close 3-mapper.
Yeah, I'm definitely in agreement now. I was especially thinking that we might have seen Overpass as well, considering it was a map they beat Gambit Youngsters on fairly recently. It was like a 16-5, I'm pretty sure. It was a very quick victory anyway. It was a quick series overall, but I know they had a decent game on that one. Yeah, it was 16-5, but yeah, knife round to come. We are going to have Heretics and Winstrike kicking off here on map number 1. I think, yeah, Winstrike, like you said, they have the potential in this series to really walk over. But see how it goes. Winstrike do take the knife round, should be hopefully choosing that CT side to continue on. We'll get that pistol round underway. And like you said, second map being Nuke. Third, if it is required, it'll be Dust 2. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes when we get there. I think, especially once you get into this lower bracket, once you start going into the 0-1s, it does get scrappy. A lot of these series haven't even gone to 3 maps, to be frank. So we'll see if this one's any different. But pistol round to kickstart. And yeah, Winstrike will stay on that CT side. So a smart decision to start, even with Vertigo still being considered as a somewhat T-side map. CT is always the safe bet, just to start the series.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, again, it is kind of that going into the CT side with a deficit. There's always a bit of a worry that, you know, you don't get a grasp onto the economy and suddenly it's kind of getting worse and worse. There's a lot more pressure, I would say, going into a CT side rather than starting on the CT side. But we'll see here. Trying to make their way towards A by the looks of things on the Heretics side of things. Again, the double utility being bought up. They're really waiting to just sort of burst out, maybe catch someone off aggressively. Edward is here. Bondic's here with the flash. They're waiting to hear something, see something. And everybody seems to be just waiting for each other right now. The first one to make a move, it could be their end. Patience is key. Jinx going to start moving in. The flash will come over the top. It blinds up quite a few, but Edward only able to get one. Jane trades him back and suddenly moving in towards the A site off the back of the Molotov. The smoke that they've thrown down, the bomb plant going to come in easily enough as is to be expected. Norbit on the flank. Not really able to find anything, though. This is not looking too good at the moment. Quick will manage to find one back for the CT side, but it's still a 3 versus 3. However, the bomb has not yet gone down. And Quick is just flitting in and out, being an absolute nuisance. He's losing his teammates, but he finds not all 3. He finds 2. It's Norbit who is the one that finds a kill in the middle there. And it will be the pistol going the way of Winstrike.
Yeah, and a beautiful pistol beginning. Very slow to begin with, but pace ramped up, especially once they pushed that castle position. First round on the board for the CT side. Of course, Heretics making that force. No bomb plant for them, so they could have ecoed and bought in the next, but seems like definitely not the mantra out of this side. Of course, with the changes inside of mid now, Bridge does at least have a little bit more of an expectancy to it. The staircase has also changed, so aren't particularly hide under that all too well as a CT. You are very exposed, so the close corner angle, which is here, what Norbit's playing or displaying to us beautifully right now, is the angle that now is the more prominent one. And you can see Logan, will they expect this? Well, they do definitely take the swing out, and that's a really nice peek. Logan going to be trading back already to damage inflicted. Norbit will be the first to fall. Quick snipes away at the frag into David P. Edward not able to take that one home. Would have been nice for the money bonus of the MP9, but nevertheless, kills are being gathered. Jinx does at least again make use of these pistols. This is the one scary thing you can never take away from Heretics at this point. Do have some fabulous pistol aim as Maka and Logan both precise as ever with those deags. 50 on the clock and a man disadvantage for Winstrike. They have to at least trade this back, or else now that they've got rifles in hand, this gets even more scary for Heretics. Sorry, for Winstrike.
Yeah, this is definitely an interesting one. Oh, goodness. Maka picks up another kill as well. Not really looking too good then. 4 on 2 as they've recovered an M4 here as well. There's some low HPs dotted about, but Edward going to have to go huge as the utility comes over the top. He spots that one, not quite able to finish it, and actually gets tracked through the smoke. It's all going to be onto Bondik, not quite able to deny the bomb plant. Caught reloading, and Maka with a huge round. Picks up the 3k in the end, but a relatively decisive force buy coming in from Heretics. They survive with 3 players. They're going to be really happy with that.
That's a round that you really come into it as a force. Once you get those first couple of kills, you realize, yeah, we can probably take this one, and that's exactly what they just did. Again, putting Winstrike back down to minimalistic numbers. Again, the pistols to be forced up, of course. It's scary how many games that we've seen in the past 2 days start in this exact manner, with the pistol round being won, and then the second being lost through to a force buy from your opponents. We've seen this in the Youngsters ad hoc game. We now saw that in Vexed LDLC. We've seen it now in this one. Meta definitely adapting to allow those pistols in the early stages of the game. Another entry, and Quick. Oh dear, oh dear. He'll start things off. Edward, he'll take one more. What are we even witnessing at the moment? Pistols reigning supreme thus far in a 4-on-3 that entails yet again Edward going to utilize the ladder effectively. Get himself into a much better position. He can now hold the rotate from that middle to B bomb site, and oh, this gets even worse. Heretics into the 4-on-3 again, with damage done to Winstrike. Definitely some easy trades, but such a sporadic beginning to this first map.
Yeah, as just seems to be the case over and over and over across the series that we've cast in the past couple of days. It's messy from a lot of teams, just not very comfortable. Edward going to be moving up, as they did indeed bring back the ladder. And this is something that maybe they are not going to be ready for. He's actually got a very good flank here. Just needs to move at the right time. Will pick up one, drops the bomb, forces them back towards him, but Jinx is able to find 2, in fact, and really open up the round for his team. Elian, however, retaining the man advantage for that CT side. Jane takes him down, but it costs him half his HP, and he's up against Bondik, who's got an M4. Kind of spamming away. Here's him running around, of course, the size of this map. Unfortunately, though, no time, of course. Running completely out of time. And that's a bit awkward. Winstrike then able to secure one back. I don't know, man. This is... Maybe it's starting as it's going to continue. You know, it is Vertigo. And like we've said, there are those very, very game-changing additions recently. But all the same, it's a messy round from Heretics.
Yeah, and again, another force to be taken. This is so back and forward at the moment. Winstrike, as long as they can... It's essentially the first team to add a little bit of stability into their game is the team that takes the lead in the early stage. Quick will be able to take out David P, and does great damage onto Maka as well. Pretty sure that was a tag through the wall, unless it was a nade. Although, well, the Dimada's damage is still the same, down to 48. Logan definitely spotted the head of Norbert, but wants to play safe at least. Oh, but does he predict it? Flash was good, but Norbert able to swing out before Logan had a chance to react to it. And it seems like Winstrike might have finally broken the cycle, looking to get their third round on the board, second in consecutive fashion. And like you said, with these changes, that ladder definitely adds a more of a quicker rotate, a quicker approach, but it also leaves that T side open to a flank, which, as we saw from Edward, is definitely viable. 50 seconds on the clock. Whilst they peek in toward this middle position, Edward will get all the information in the world. Even if Jane is boosted up, he'll still spot it before Jane has the chance to react, but maybe not. Okay. He'll close him down into a 4-on-4 with 35 seconds left and only minimal damage traded across the board. It's now Heretics that have to dedicate toward the site. 4 CTs still left to battle, and a Deagle onto Maka already on 4 HP. This is going to be difficult. They'll have to be quick about things if they want to enter the bomb site with enough time. And with David P already out of the scenario, seems like it's not going to be happening. Save to come, I think.
Indeed. So, as you said, Winstrike going to be getting a good foothold here early on the CT side, where, I mean, we'll see with these changes kind of how it develops in the coming weeks, but it has typically been a little bit more T-sided, if anything. So it's kind of good to get off to a good start on the CT side. Again, their map pick, you know, they want to be comfortable, they want to be happy here, and that's kind of seemingly how it's going to be going if the trend continues, if they're able to, you know, keep tapping into whatever it is that they've found here in these past couple of rounds. Going to be into another rifle round, although just barely. There's only really, you know, 2 over on that Heretic side, so kind of a rifle buy from one side and then half a rifle buy from the other side. So it should be Winstrike taking this, but you never know. This, unfortunately, is maybe what we're going to see a lot of out of the French boys. They do like their force buys, but we'll see. I mean, a map like Vertigo, again, that close range combat can be very devastating very quickly. You know, a player gets a kill with a Deagle up close, or even just at kind of half range, takes an M4, and then suddenly, you know, he's round the corner and you don't have much time to react. Speaking of round the corner, Edward is up high. He manages to take down Jinx. Quick is still chilling around here as well. That Molotov is questionable. Forces Quick out, a bit awkward. I suppose Edward gets another one for his trouble, though, before being traded back. And now into a 4-on-3, make it a 4-on-2. The Winstrike should easily be able to convert.
And it seems like Winstrike got the better side of that momentum shift in the early first couple of rounds. Now that they've established the 4-1 lead, see them forcing Heretics either onto a force or down to the eco, depending how many rifles are saved. Jane will at least shut down Elian in return, but 20 seconds on the clock now, and Bondic in a prime position to deny anything that Heretics try and do at the moment. They'll look to cross. He hears all the sound in the world, gets himself the beautiful angle. And as soon as they spot out Jane, or at least hear him, footsteps are close, spam through the smoke, knows exactly where that bomb's being planted. Quick able to wrap things up 4-1. Now the eco to come out of Heretics. Logan might force up a Deegan Kevlar, which he does. Jay may be doing the same just to add a little more firepower into this side, but Winstrike starting brighter in this one. And like you said, with Vertigo notoriously in the early stage being T-sided, it's always nice to see a CT side challenging the meta, putting sort of as many rounds as a side would usually finish on this half. They've already sort of achieved that numbers, but Logan already might find the first. Elian and Edward, though, they'll make light work of 2. Trade it back fairly quickly, and they should be shutting down round number 5.
Yeah, indeed. They're looking really good here, Winstrike, very early on. Perhaps done a bit of work. I mean, Vertigo now quickly, for like a few weeks maybe, has kind of come back to the bit of a surprise sort of pick while teams get used to it. And perhaps it is something that Winstrike have been working on again with the relative youth of this lineup, let's say. But all the same, looks like they are going to convert it fairly easily. David P will find another kill for his squad. So, again, keeping that CT economy modest, not letting it spiral out of control. There's maybe a chance that he gets to save this M4 as well, which he may be happy with. There's actually a chance he might get the bomb down. But Quick has spotted it out. It's just going to depend on the timing and works out perfectly for him. So 5th round for Winstrike coming in fairly easily, and they'll be happy to continue to extend this lead here.
Yeah, I think the main goal of the Heretics now is to battle in these rounds just to ensure that looks like so far if the T-side do get a resurgence, we'll be seeing more of a closer half than maybe Vertigo usually or used to tell. But providing that Heretics can at least make as many rounds as Winstrike in these next few, get the scoreline relatively close and end the first half, with more of a maybe a 9-6, even an 8-7 is definitely still possible. But Heretics so far in this second full gun round do have the 4 rifles, at least 1 Krieg, which is definitely a nice addition on Vertigo. There's a lot of angles that can be worked with a weapon like this. Norbert, as he takes damage, Quick's already out of the equation. Jinx is dropped down to 19, but it doesn't matter when the first kill has already been found. And whilst Norbert is aware of all these angles, too many to check just by himself, so Heretics right now do have the run-of-the-mill. They can definitely dictate the pace in this one, even with a minute left. Edward is close toward concrete, but a position that should definitely be expected. It seems like Maka is wise to it. Has to check other angles, but as soon as that flashbang comes through, they know exactly what's up. Jinx, even with Edward finding 1, trading back the 2, and keeping the advantage in their favor. 2 players who have very quick trades available. That was nearly a lineup. Elian does take out the first at least. Damage done to Logan, but unfortunately can't convert the frag. And down to 35 seconds, Bondic last man alive in a 1-on-3. A big task at hand, but with 2 players low, if he makes the quick trades, he doesn't have a kit, but can definitely work with the time.
It's definitely doable. But I don't think he's really fancying his chances. Their money is not great on that CT side, so this AUG saved into the next round could really make a difference. Maybe he finds some exits, though, because in the same strain, the T side cash is not that great. Logan, however, going to win the fight. And unfortunately, for Winstrike, despite having, 3, 4 in a row, I believe, 4 in a row, they actually are kind of forced onto a weaker buy here. Going to go for it, going to fully invest, so not playing it safe. But as you can see, 1 M4, a FAMAS, they're kind of the 2 best weapons. It's not really looking too good, and lacking in utility in places, no kits available. Gonna need to pull something out of the bag here for sure, and that is not the best way to open up.
Definitely not. A second already dead. This is how easy it was for Heretics to get back into the game. They were at a sweet spot where if they won the vital round, the pivotal round, he knew that Winstrike were definitely breakable. And even with 5 on the board, it looks like a solid number to begin with, but with how easily that CT side can decline, Heretics making very, very nice couple of rounds. And Jane again to close out Edward into that 5-on-2. Wouldn't even be surprised if they only lose maximum of a single player at this point. A bomb site has already been taken, and Heretics will ensure that the round should be fairly clean. So 3rd to come on the board. And so far, Heretics, even with the few rounds that Winstrike have been able to garner, they seem to be right back in the game. Jinx to close out Norbert, ensuring that only a single rifle at most can be saved. This is a beautiful start. Heretics, they should be right back into the game. A 3rd to be confirmed, and a 4th surely to be granted by the eco. So Heretics, they are really close to knocking on the door of pieing the scoreline, and I think that's everything they would have wanted coming into this sort of middle part of the first half. They couldn't have been going down 7, 8 rounds. We've killed them off, unfortunately. And Jane, perfect frag to deny the rifle, so weak going into the next round, and an eco to come for Winstrike.
Yeah, indeed. It's relatively exciting stuff here. So it starts to get into the nitty-gritty. I suppose a little bit of breathing room, like you're kind of alluding to, for the Heretics here, because they are going to be up against a full eco, a complete eco. Nothing put up at all for Winstrike. So definitely going to be happy with that. Oh, Maka, a nice little shot from him. They're holding it down. Perfectly read here as well by Heretics to just hold the ramp. It does seem to be quite a popular area for CTs to rush, and although that one was a bit laboured, Jane will get his 3k, Maka will get his 2. So a very quick 9th round as Heretics begin to really put this Winstrike lead into contention this next round. Might just decide things. I mean, they've got money to buy here on the CT side, but again, it is not ideal. They've just been a little uncomfortable in the past few rounds, and that's kind of what we're talking about, you know, when we say this is why teams start on the CT side, because, you know, although they've been doing well, picking up 4 in a row because they're not decisive enough, they just don't have enough money, and as soon as Heretics win one, it's broken, and now look what has happened, you know? There's a potential here for Heretics to actually gain the lead themselves.
Yeah, and at least with Winstrike as well, they know they can set the amount of rounds that they need to get on this CT side, and right now they're getting close to that number, but would have liked a couple more, especially for the fact that Heretics have now made consecutive rounds. Their money now a complete contrast of what it was in the early stage. They've got a full buy for the next 2 or 3, especially if bomb plants come through. That's something Winstrike definitely have to be aware of. Like you said, with the fact that this is more of a standard buy round than most, no AWP, no defuse kit, a sincere lack of utility. Winstrike going to be relying upon their core aim to carry them through this one. Maybe to find some or force some mistakes out of Heretics, but so far they have looked pretty picture perfect in these rounds that they've gained back. Maka open up onto Bondit. That's a very good first kill to find. Ensuring that already that AWP is having value, something that many teams on the T side can't really handle all that well, but definitely Maka the man to do so. Norbert was spotted, but a beautiful swing out from him. That's twice Logan's been caught off in that position. 25 on the clock, or just gone. And Heretics, the fact that they've slowed down entirely now and are shifting with that bomb, they really have to make a move. Time is not on their side, and they're only going to have a maximum of a few seconds to get on that bomb site and to force the plant. And with Elian already holding the front line, if that bomb doesn't make it, then it's already done, and exactly it is. Winstrike sort of get gifted a free scenario to close out that round just for the fact that Heretics skewed the timing there, and that's a free one for the CTs to take.
But take it they shall. I mean, they'll definitely be happy with that, and looking to use that opportunity to extend this lead. Really good stuff. I mean, sure, it is a bit lucky, but that's kind of a part of the game. As much as players would like to say it's all skill, it is a little part of the game, is luck being on your side, and certainly was for Winstrike. Paul's going to be coming through. It's not like, because of the messy nature of it, it's not like Winstrike have got a great deal of money themselves, so they'll kind of be thankful for this pause. And going to be once again in with a bit of a broken buy. Heretics, meanwhile, got plenty of money available, so it is definitely doable for them. But at this point, again, you know, it's just kind of any rounds the Winstrike boys are able to pick up going to be even better for them, because they're already in a position where they feel comfortable going into the second half. So we'll see as the pause ends. Going to be getting back into the action. As you can see, just a little bit, I suppose, from the odds in favor of Winstrike to be winning. But it really, I feel like this series really could go either way. But after what we've seen today, I don't know. The fast, aggressive kind of play styles can be very hard to deal with, as we see Maka going in with a nice contact up, pretty much on his lonesome. Edward holding, I guess, what could be considered an off angle. Molotov's coming in, flash as well, not going to do anything to stop him.
Oh my God.
No. Oh my goodness, that is comical to say the least. At least he gets the kill, but it could have been a 2-man advantage. It's only a 1-man advantage. Meanwhile, over on ramp, Jane is trying to pick up the pieces somewhat. Also only able to 1-for-1 trades. It's definitely still in a doable situation. Norbit, especially with the double, could make the difference. Maka now the only one left, the only one to really have done a great deal of damage. Brings it into a bit more of a doable situation. Fakes out the bomb plant, goes round the corner for the no-scope, and actually says, you know what? Don't fancy B. I'm going to quickly rotate to A. I've got plenty of time to play with. Let's see how Bondic plays the 1 versus 1.
And with time to spare for Maka, he can definitely shift his way. But look at Bondic. He's read this so well. Gets himself the final kill to close it out. A 3k from Maka not going to be enough, unfortunately. And we'll see Winstrike taking that 7-4. Now an untountable CT side lead being gained by them here in Heretics. Again, able to rebuy. Thankfully, the economy is in their favor. They've had a lot of money in the bank so far to be able to purchasing these AKs and even the AWP constantly. So keeping Maka as comfortable as possible, but a very pivotal turning point in the game at this moment, especially if Winstrike do win this one. The money's starting to run a little dry, but you can still see David P and Jane with $3,600 and 32 between them, so a nice sweet amount of cash even for players that have fully rebought. But again, Winstrike still not out of the rafters just yet, still down in that gutter economically, so a single round could sway it again. Maka going to be boosted up. Going to try and play for the close wood position, but the barrel already spotted. Looking for the first lineup. Quick takes out the first. The spam. Maka doesn't even move. Just takes all the bullets. And that's already a 2-man disadvantage that Heretics have to try and muster up. They've lost a first and damage to a second, even a third, without even spotting this player that's dealt it. I think Bondic even wise. There may be another man toward this position. He's still locked and loaded. He spots the leg through the tiniest of gap, and that's another kill through the wooden box, exploiting that beautifully. And that should be the round confirmed. Winstrike haven't even taken any damage. And with 30 seconds approaching, this should be locked and loaded by Winstrike.
Yeah, absolutely flawless stuff, honestly. Really what we like to see. Ooh, okay, maybe spoke a bit too soon, as Logan is able to find one. So we'll have to see. Can they continue the trend here, or... Okay. All right, they find another couple kills. Norbit is in behind. Was looking to end the round. Now has to save the round, and it looks like he might just denies the bomb plant just in time. Oh my goodness, though. David P is so close there to finding the round. Man alive, would have been nice to see it from his perspective. Bit of a shame, but that was way too close. Winstrike do win it, but it costs them every single player, and I don't know if their economy can really survive even a victory like that.
That's the thing, that they win the round, but it feels like a loss at this point, right? Have to rebuy back into, again, even more limited weaponry. Edward down onto the auto shotgun. Norbert once again onto the MP9, and this is now starting to feel a little bit risky for them. And Bondic going to be able to open things up again very, very nicely. The fact that he's now grabbed the early entry does allow things to become a little bit easier. Spam through the vent's not going to land anything. Quick takes down one more, and even battling with Logan finally. They get a kill on the board. Even into a 4-on-3. Trade again has to be made, and a missed shot by Logan on that AWP. Elian to close him down once again. Now Winstrike starting to amount a great advantage, but thankfully David P from that new ladder position able to at least trade it back. It gives the advantage just a little more. But at this point, the way that it's looking for Winstrike, taking this round essentially gives them a huge chance at double figures. CT side Vertigo, that's a massive achievement in itself. It's David P and Jinx approaching from the ramp position, spotting out the first man again, and Molotov will try and force him out, but Norbert, he's so wise to it, a master of this B bomb site, and he gets the first. He even makes the second. That's a beautiful way to hold. Gets in front of the molly, shuts them both down, 9-4. Again, it's looking rough out of Heretics. Looks like more of a semi-buy to come to be able to afford in the final round, but Winstrike, this is a lot of rounds on the CT side they've already got.
Yeah, they're going to be feeling really good about this one, honestly. And so they should. It's looking really, really good from them. Kind of excited to see where it goes. But in all honesty, I'm not entirely sure kind of what Heretics have got planned. We do have a pause coming in. It could even get worse for Heretics is kind of the issue. And then, you know, moving into that T side where arguably the firepower for Winstrike is perhaps a little higher, at least at the moment, the way that it's firing on all cylinders. Although saying that, I mean, we've got Jane all the way at the top by quite some margin. And it's not like there's a massive... It's kind of interesting. It's not like there's a massive kill discrepancy, but I feel like what's happening a lot is Heretics are just picking up the pieces instead of, being proactive and the ones with the advantage. They seem to be the ones constantly on the back foot, constantly looking to find, a recovery, to find someone to step up and get a 2-3K to get them back into the round. And it's just, sometimes you can rely on that, but relying on the individual plays round after round after round is just not a good way to play the game. Honestly, you need to be working as a team, especially on that T side where, your fundamental trading, the executes and things are also very important to have available to you.
And this is where it's going to come down to, essentially, the fact that Heretics just need to see what they can get out of this sort of pistol round. I mean, we're not expecting them to win it, but with the economy that's... Honestly, Winstrike's economy has been really bad through this entire first half. They've just been very, very lucky with the way that it's felt. They've always been able to rebuy and not necessarily needed to utilize all 5 players. They have at least had a buy round and full rifles for every meaningful round anyway, and this time it's a rush down toward mid by Heretics. And as Quick takes down the first, great damage onto the second. Nade will finish him off though, and they at least get a first kill in their favor, make it a second out of Jinx as well. This now gets a little more difficult. Hellion though does trade back and makes it into that 3 versus 2. It's all down to Logan and David P, and with a minute left on the clock, there's plenty of time to work with. If they can get a bomb plant, that's even better. That would amount to so much money going into the final round of the first half, and would give them a better chance at bringing out the AWP, getting Maka comfortable, all players on utility. And that's exactly what they need at this point. Elian's so close to death, but still takes out David P. There's Logan, last man alive, not going to get anything from it. 10-4, double digits secured. And Heretics now, final round of the first half. Thankfully, it is a full buy to come. And one that if they do take it, can bring them back to life. But Winstrike, CT side has looked mighty good for them. And a side that, when we talk about Vertigo, we don't particularly consider to be the favored side. But Winstrike have definitely made it that way.
Yeah, for sure. It will be interesting to see whether this continues across the series, honestly. So this, as we've said, is the pick of Winstrike. But you kind of have to consider if their CT side has anything to go by. We've got Nuke coming up next, which obviously is a hella CT-sided map. So if their CT side is feeling this good, feeling this confident, I think a bit of it does come down to maybe Heretics, not being used to the map, etc., etc. But all the same, I'm excited to see how things go down on Nuke. But we do need a real step up here from Heretics, because it's just not looking good. I mean, the 10-5 is not comfortable, but it's doable. 4 is starting to get more into that, improbable kind of territory. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm not hugely confident, but you never know. The AWPs especially can have a large role on that CT side. In the sense of, the double up setups and things. So you never know. Maybe something like that, someone could come alive. And they do, again, they have Jane. I think it's possible, especially on a map like Vertigo, for your individuals on the CT side to actually step up a bit more if they can, play around their teammates and hold their spots convincingly. I think there is potential for Jane to maybe take the carry mantle on a tight, close quarters map like this.
Yeah, and he's going to have to do a lot in this second half to keep his team alive. Like you said, he's top fragging quite well during this first half, even as his team's 6 rounds behind, still at the top of the leaderboard across the entire server. So far, Heretics look like more of a default up toward A. Send 2 men in, try and look for that info. Maka, that's a great first pick. Hellion going to get absolutely nothing. Already Bondic has been isolated. Flash was good, but Maka is better. That's the way to open up that A bomb site. Edward at least able to return 1. Trade it back into a 4-on-3, but with him down to 43, not that it matters. Maka will fall as well, and Quick. Nearly an opportunity to strike there. Nearly caught David P out. Still, will be able to keep alive. On to 64, but Hooks and mollies up toward this B bomb site. Might force a little bit of a rotate, but look at Edward. He's so smart, so aware. That's the bomb dropped already. And even with the action toward the B site, not going to make any conceivable difference. Winstrike, whether it was a little bit of luck on their side or the fact that the timing worked for them, they ratted out that bomb before the B bomb site was even faked out there. And that's what was guiding that setup in the round to go close it off. And Edward, he's smart. He knows David P is approaching. 11-4 to finish it off. And what a way for Winstrike to close out that CT side, ensuring double digits and more to go into that second half, with Pistol going to be paramount to allow Heretics back into the game. But again, we know the CT side now, especially in this new iteration of Vertigo, is having more of an easier time of gaining rounds.
Yeah, it definitely does look that way, and I don't think it is, entirely just because of the matchup, just because of the teams. I think there is a little bit, these changes, as I imagine they were intended to do, have helped the CT side a little bit in places for sure. So will be interesting to see.
Yeah, and we'll be live with second half Pistol after a short commercial break from the sponsor Loot.bet.
Loot.bet, made for live betting.
And here we go. Second half Pistol about to be live. It's Winstrike that are looking to try and close out this game. Take it into the second map of Nuke and Heretics. It's a fight back for them. A fight that is so desperately needed. Maka going to pick up the... Okay, I was going to say pick up the defuse kit, but has gone for the full Kevlar. So more of a rapid approach maybe out of Heretics. They're looking for the fight rather than the tactical approach. But Winstrike and dedicated toward ramp, all 5 players. And this could get dicey. Jane again, though, been solid during this first map. We'll find the first, but gets traded out by Norbert. The retreat from Jinx, but the site looking to be taken out of Winstrike. But a slowdown that at least gives Heretics a little more composure.
Yeah, a lot of these exchanges happen in the first kind of 30 seconds of the round, so they can really play the mind games here. Whether they go back towards B, whether they actually execute onto the safer A site, remains to be seen. It does look like, with Edward especially being around, that they're going to be going for that A side of things. But either way, maybe they're about to find out if they push forwards, if Logan keeps going forwards. Heretics could see that actually it will be more of an A-side hit, although they are really winding the clock down here. And Maka, hidden away at the sandbags, has got a pretty damn good position if they do not check him. He's lost his teammate, but Norbert goes running straight past him. Maka, that's so awkward, though. Oh, my goodness. That's kind of heartbreaking to see. Norbert was running and gunning forwards, I suppose, never really stopped moving. But all the same, that is painful, to say the least. Logan will drop Edward, which is actually, I believe, most of that utility taken down before he actually gets to use it, and also a P250, but still a pretty strong man advantage, and still looks like a safe bomb plant here on the B bomb site that's going to be very difficult. Again, kitless CTs to find any kind of a way back in. They're both split as well, so trading kind of out the window. They just need to find the kills between them and hope that they can hit the heads. They get the easy one, Norbit on low HP. Unfortunately, Logan falls, and David P does not really have any time. So it will be Winstrike taking the pistol, 12-4 on the board.
And a perfect start out of Winstrike. That's exactly what they would have wanted. Off of the back of that, even close out David P in the end of things as well. Just to ensure a decent round victory to come. But Winstrike, this was the round that could have decided whether Heretics or not would have kept up the fight, but fortunately, as they take that pistol, it sort of nullifies any initial comeback. It's now down to the force buy of Heretics. A very rapid decision to take that force there. Looked like they were going for the eco, but not going to take that this time. Jinx will hear a little bit of sound info. Wants to play relatively safe, but We can never discount or discredit these pistols. That's the one thing, especially when they're grouped up with a lot of utility like this. And Maka maybe trying to force out quick for a peek, looking to spam that new Nectar ladder position. Edward will take down the first. Surely David P will get a trade, and exactly so he does. Back into a 4-on-4. Winstrike at least giving up that first man, allowing a submachine gun to be garnered by that CT side, but it all depends how they approach this A bomb site. If they go out together, they might get success. Maka dropped down to 42, but still able to survive, alive and kicking, and damage done to Edward as well, but Norbert, he will be able to catch him off. That's a nice little frag to gain. Peeking out Norbert, damage done to both now. Edward has to be careful. Luckily has a support of Elian though. Bomb looking to be planted fairly soon. Logan is on the flank, something that Elian is looking to be aware of. 45 on the clock though, and with damage done to Edward, a simple trade that might at least amount for more, but they know where the last man is now. Bondit will make light work of him. And that force buy comes down to nothing. 13-4 and an eco out of Heretics that should spell 14.
Looking really good for Winstrike then. This is kind of a little what we'd expected. You know, if they moved into the second half with a relatively strong start, then it was going to be really difficult for Heretics to get back in, and that just seems to be the case here. So I'm not entirely sure. It seems like my clean feed is frozen.
I just read the admin chat, and the admin said go TV legs, and I was like, oh, it seems fine. And it was like, nope, as soon as I wrote that, it died.
Okay, well, that's a little bit awkward. But yeah, I think regardless, I feel like we all know how that round is going to go. Just the one deagle and a nade bought for Heretics, so not really looking too good. Looks like we're starting to move back into things. Okay, there we go.
One of the better rounds to lag on, right, though? Nothing too major.
Yeah,
we
for
missed.
sure.
But yeah.
Definitely.
Double up, I kind of like it. Maka bringing out the glass cannon, though, is always a little bit of an impact-less round with the lack of Kevlar, but an AWP, you can definitely work with it, so at least looking to set themselves up just a little more comfortably. And Jane, secondary up, going to already strike onto Edward, looking for a fast play toward that ramp, and he gets gifted with the first, so a nice entry. Heretics, one of the first times that we've actually seen them grab an early kill in the round, so hopefully they can convert it.
Yeah, hopefully. But still, it's not a super strong advantage. But definitely a workable one. Again, Macaron is comfortable AWP here. Definitely was one of the more standout members in that first half with it. And arguably a little bit easier on the CT side of things. Nice little smoke coming over the top. Again, on towards that A bomb site. The simplicity, perhaps a little bit too simple in places, people may argue, to execute onto that A site. But they're not really going to follow up on it. Again, they've got plenty of time to play with, so really just playing the mind games, baiting out a bit of CT utility maybe is the idea, or causing someone to be a bit too aggressive. Maka, though, just holding things down. Will take down quick. Or no, he'll take down Edward. I'm really confused now what's going on in terms of the... Either way, there's been a good couple of kills coming in. The UI seems to have gotten messed up a little bit from the... Yeah, I'm a bit confused. Is this quick? Who is this? We don't know. Either way. All right, it's Elian. He's going to take down David P. I think it's a 2-on-1. It's a 3-on-1 for him. He peeks out into the open, and Logan will take him down. That's actually really disorientating when the UI is completely messed up.
Yeah, I think we
but
back.
all the same.
Yeah, it is back.
Okay, cool.
A little bit confusing there. We
yeah, I was like, wait,
resorting to minimap.
Quick died, and then Edward's dead on the UI. What's going on? You know.
Still a solid round out of Heretics, at least. The double up prevailing. Maka, no rifle in hand. AWP's invisible at the moment. Seems like a lot of issues just caused by that little GoTV lag, unfortunately, but we'll keep it. What is this angle with the AWP? This looks really trippy. Okay, there we go. But Norbert, or is it Norbert? It's not Norbert. We're definitely being cut by the UI again. Jane, at least able to take out quick. We'll go off of the fact to the top right. We'll work off of this, but yeah, the CT side at least able to gain a round in return. The one scary part is their economy not yet established. Losing at least this one or 3 players or more would seriously impact them, would put them down onto, again, a little bit of a low buy. See them start to again struggle to purchase, but fortunately this time this player actually is Norbert, but this one ain't. But even so, time should be ticking around maybe 35, 40 seconds left on the clock here, maybe a little bit less. There we go. Well, that was really well timed there. 40 seconds on the clock. Smokes to come out from the T side. This is B bomb site take, sending the first man in at least. We'll see what they can deliver, but 3 in defense of this B bomb site. This is going to be very hard to break.
Yeah, definitely. They're all moving in around each other as well. Logan goes down to the flames, but seems like that is going to be enough. Into a 3-on-2. Now just a 1-on-3 for Ellie, and he's got to find 4 for the round. Not going to happen. Gets taken out by the flanker. So Heretics, definitely giving themselves a bit of a lifeline. Fighting back here, as it appears. Okay. Is this a bit of a reset? So yeah, 14-6. I was going to say it appears that UI's just died completely. But all the same, they're trying their damnedest here, Heretics. Maybe a bit of momentum going into their map pick, Nuke, but I'm not so sure. It's still not looking great. I think there's maybe an argument to be made that they're just a little outmatched on the day.
Seems like the case, yeah. It seems like definitely Winstrike will come into this with a much better head about things. Norbert been able to make that P250 work in his favor. A good first kill that will see him dropping the first man on that CT side. Nice little boost out of Jane, though. Will, of course, have a much superior angle to what Bondnik has at the moment. He'll fall, make a quick trade back into a 4-on-4. That AWP mightily exposed, and Maka tagged down low, but Jane fortunately able to keep up with the damage. Ensuring the man advantage stays in the favor of Heretics, and even with Norbert onto that MP9 shouldn't make too much of a difference. And yeah, Heretics, it's a long way back, but it's a scoreline that we've not seen, or we have seen them replicate before. It was 14-7 on Mirage against Copenhagen Flames in the closed qualifier. They actually brought it back to 16-14, which was one of the maddest comebacks that we've seen in a long time. But yeah, this one seeming a little bit out of reach thus far, but there's definitely a argument for the momentum. Quick will go for a fast pick onto Maka. Norbert shuts down Jane. Bomb to be planted. This is more than Winstrike ever would have imagined they got in this round. And with Norbert on the MP9 and David P low, this gets really risky.
Nice flash comes through. Not going to blind anyone up, but it forces Norbert to peek. And he will end up losing the fight. Now Quick is left in this 1-on-2 situation. Like you say, David P is very low, gets taken down as well. The bomb ticking away. Jinx wants to take the fight. He wins it, thankfully. Able to find the bomb easily enough as well. And will be a 7th. But I mean, the issue is, when you're mounting this comeback, not only do you need to be winning rounds, you also need to get them decisively, so that, especially on the CT side, so you've got money available round after round after round. And that one is very, very close. Obviously, they can't really suffer a loss, but they definitely cannot suffer a victory that is that indecisive, that close again, because the money is just not really available.
That's the unfortunate thing now that they've had to rebuy, even with Maka to carry over a rifle or get gifted one. Yeah, it just means that Heretics still going to be struggling. Even if they do keep on winning rounds, like you said, it has to be at least with 3 surviving just to look a little stable. So far, it's giving a little bit more momentum to this side, which I think what they need is, unfortunately, this first map might be out of their hands, but they need to regain themselves for the second and come in with a better head. And getting more rounds on this map is definitely the way to just start that process. But Quick was definitely spotted by Jane. They know of information of a first man inside of corridor, but Maka in the crossfire as well. This is something they have to be careful of. And Quick, he swings, he'll fall. Nice first kill out of Jane, ensuring that, again, the opening kill going to Heretics a lot on the CT side so far. 55 seconds on the clock, and Winstrike, even with damage done, no trade to be made as of yet. And so far, Winstrike seeming to be on the back foot once again. I think maybe Maka was heard dropping down there. Dropped down to 46 anyway, and David P playing close corner has to be careful, but Winstrike, full execution out toward the A bomb site, something we very rarely see. Seems like a fake. A little bit of a ruse. Maka straight out toward that lower position. Bondik and Norbert trading back again. 25 on the clock. There's Norbert now into a 1-on-3. Oh boy, he gets caught out. Maka will finish him off on a beautiful round out of Heretics yet again. Putting another on the board and at least getting close to double digits. And it's better out of Heretics. At least a confidence boost to come once again.
Yeah, it's just always the age-old classic. It's kind of, where has this been kind of thing. It's just, they're looking a lot more confident, a lot more fluid, and just a lot more room given to kind of the stronger players, the star players, as it were. And like I say, it's just a little surprising, a little bit unfortunate that it comes this late on into the game. Like you said, they've got the potential for the comeback. They've kind of proven it. But I'm not quite sure. Norbit, are you okay, mate? Someone DC'd here, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Edward. Not around. I mean, they were on kind of a half buy anyway. The old classic Russian AK with Bondik on that AK, but I think the plans for the round have certainly been put to a halt for sure. He could survive after time and kind of be okay in terms of, utility and things like that without that extra loss bonus, of course. But the rest of the team kind of need to get moving and, die trying or be successful. You never know. All right, maybe you spoke at the right time. Elian gonna find a quick 1D onto Jinx. Maka here with the AWP has got to be careful not to get overwhelmed. However, Jane is holding down the flank. He gets a triple spray down, and that's the round. Surely. Norbert will trade him back, gets the bomb back in his hands. I think Edward returned as well, judging by the fact that he's dead there. So I think we're all good. No extended timeouts, anything like that. But this round, I don't know. Maybe if they find Maka here, not going to happen though. Oh my goodness, as he almost gets both, in fact. Quick going to run straight past the bomb. He's also going to run straight past Logan and gets taken down. So Heretics, again, it's kind of another close one, but they are able to keep stringing them together. And again, we're still looking at the consolation rounds. They're building up a bit of momentum going into their own map pick. Not quite believing in the potential of the comeback just yet.
Yeah, that's the thing. If they make it to 12 rounds, definitely a chance of this to be on. But the fact is there's still so many to come that the Heretics make mistakes on. Winstrike brings something to the table that changes things. And that's just the one thing that Heretics definitely have to deal with at the moment. Jane himself, again, keeping up with that double AWP, just ensuring that the Heretic side at least are as comfortable as they can be. Want to be giving the angles the favors, but so far it's going to have to be, again, another clean display from Heretics. And this time, Winstrike will be on that full purchase, of course. WP will be dropped out to Elian as well, so the sniper in hand. We want to see a good battle between both Elian and the two CT AWPs. Would be nice to have them in close contention to fight back, but so far, yeah, Heretics still, considering they've won, what, 4-5 rounds in a row at the moment? David P, Jane, Jinx, Logan, all economically damaged. Money's not in their favor, unfortunately. That's the burden of having a CT side, and as you mentioned, it's so much easier starting on the CT side than it is going into that CT side, because again, you're just instantly on the back foot, unfortunately, especially against a side that have momentum like Winstrike did. But again, a little bit of an extended pause, and just gives maybe a chance for Winstrike to nullify the momentum of Heretics now, to slow them down, bring them to a halt, and try and bring something new to close out a round, because Heretics, if they keep this up, there's definitely a way for them to come back in this. They're doing it fairly clean, but again, Winstrike, a little bit of a pause, try and cut off any stride that the Heretics have and see if they can bring this one to light with that full gun round now.
Indeed, this is kind of a key turning point for sure. Really going to need to find the next couple of rounds pretty cleanly, I would say, and it would set them up economically pretty well. I think Winstrike are going to be savvy to the fact now, kind of respecting their opponents, that it's like, right, they are within the realms of really turning this first map on its head. We've possibly already let it get a little bit too out of control. We want to be dominating these boys and moving through. And Bondik, of course, going to open up here just towards the bottom end of ramp, holding some very tight angles indeed. Mac are going to try and spot him out with the AWP, but does need to be careful. David P, meanwhile, takes down Elian. Jinx going to start pushing forwards. Bondik, is he ready for this? He isn't. Can't react fast enough either. And now a 4-on-3 in favor of Heretics, looking very good indeed. They've got a bit of an idea where the rest of the players are at as well. And suddenly the round has completely opened up after a great start from Winstrike. Very early first pick from Bondik. They're just not able to capitalize to work off of it. So we'll have to see here. Maka, got to be careful on the AWP, of course. Could easily get overwhelmed by some of the automatic weaponry that's still available to the T side. Going to play it safe, try and Molotov him out. Unfortunately, Molotoving the wrong side. Going to creep round, though, in a beautiful little spot of the shoulder from Edward. Will eventually find the kill. Logan, meanwhile, had taken down Norbit, but not before he gets one. So we're into a 2-on-2, but only 15 seconds left. They've got to get this bomb down quickly. The A site is open, but only briefly. Whereabouts are they going to plant it? Going to go for a little bit more of an open plant. They're unsure of where the CTs are coming from. Going to hear them coming through. It's all going to be down to Edward, though. It is all on Edward here, essentially. Quick is such low HP that he's probably going to be taking a very passive angle. Edward, meanwhile, is flanking out the CTs very slowly. He doesn't actually commit to it heavily. Just going to be holding the corridor here and waiting for them to cross. Oh, Quick, though, capitalizes. And then Edward capitalizes off of that. Beautiful stuff, in all honesty. They're using each other as distractions, and Winstrike will get their 15th, but a very, very good recovery coming through from the T side.
Yeah, that was, I think, one of the better afterplants that we've seen during this entire game so far. Especially with Quick low HP, they played it perfectly, didn't have him sat anywhere close to death or anywhere that he could have been caught off, and it was, like you said, all down to the old dog in this team. The experience obviously reigns supreme in that one, and now with the fact that the force buy is coming out of Heretics, down to pistols, a single Mag 7 in the hands of Logan, it's a fairly weak buy round, and after so many rounds made back by Heretics, 5 on this CT side, seems like it's all run dry, and as Quick opens up onto the first, Edward himself spamming the smoke with that Krieg. Maka at least to be a little tag, but catch him on the reload. Oh my god, Maka doesn't even finish off the kill. He's down to... Well, Edward just looked at him in despair like, what? How am I alive? No idea, but it's a 5-on-3 in Winstrike. Maybe a little bit of luck on their side, but they do have that 2-man advantage, and that might just be enough to carry them across the line now.
Yeah, certainly looks that way. It was tough. Again, very similar situation to the Winstrike CT side. In some areas, you remember, they were kind of 5-1, and then Heretics won a round, and suddenly, even though they got 4 in a row, Winstrike found themselves with no money, and it's a very similar situation here. Norbit going to be moving in on the ledge of the map. Oh, that's a bit awkward, though, checking the wrong corner at the wrong time. And thankfully, having a couple players over on that B site does give them a bit of a chance. Jinx is in a good spot, actually, to maybe catch off some rotations if they decide to go for it. Not quite sure, and it seems the T side themselves are also not quite sure. With only 15 seconds left, though, they've got to make a move here. Elian holding down the flank with this AWP. Not quite able to find the shot. Down goes Edward from Jinx's nade, but Jinx quickly traded back. Logan and David P then to keep them in it. The Mag 7 going to find one, but traded. David P, this is definitely doable. Now into a 1-on-1. Has a kit available, but runs out of ammo. And Quick will take him down. 16-9. I feel like after that first half, it was pretty much inevitable. But Heretics, they do a good job of fighting back.
Yeah, able to make some really solid rounds on that CT side. At least gives us a nice little precipice to set up coming into Nuke as well. I'm glad they didn't get run over fully with like a 16-4, which definitely it could have been after Winstrike took the pistol. We could have seen this map wrapped up way quicker than it actually was. But yeah, thankfully for Heretics, able to put a couple of rounds at least in their favor, just to give them more of a confidence boost. But we do have the map pick coming up now of Heretics, which is going to be that Nuke map. It's one that both of these sides do play. Winstrike actually dropping off of it in more recent times with their new roster, so it's one that Heretics do have the statistical advantage on, but looking pretty good so far in the series overall, and we'll see how that second map does entail. But of course, we'll be going for a short 10-minute break. If you would like to check us both out on Twitter, you can do so. For Scriv at @ScrivCast, and for myself at Vortex Kieran !Cast if you want to do that over